Well, that's just an overview of this whole deal. Now, what is being produced right here? Number one, literature. Now, here's something good. The Egyptian guy comes right up at 323 after Alexander's death, sacks Jerusalem, hauls off 100,000 Jews, and settles them by force down here in Alexandria, down there in Egypt. People were really mourning. That was God's plan. You know why? He wouldn't let them speak Hebrew. He wouldn't let them read Hebrew. And so the older men got together and they translated the Hebrew Bible into Greek. What's that called? The Septuagint or the Septuagint. And God planned it that in 250 BC that those people would band together and they would produce the Bible that Paul used, that Christ used, that the early church used. So that tragedy of 100,000 prisoners of war became God's plan to preserve the Scriptures in the language of the world, in Greek. But also these Essene people were living out in the caves and hiding out, and they were keeping the Hebrew manuscripts in bottles so that we would have both. Amazing. So we have great, great literature that is good literature, the Septuagint. Well, also, there was some writing going on called the Apocrypha. Apocrypha means hidden, and the Apocrypha are a bunch of books that these people wrote. And if some of you perhaps have a Catholic background, you always wonder what those books are that are in the middle. You know, a Catholic Bible, if you open it up, by the way, a Catholic Bible, you can read the Catholic Bible, you can get saved. I've led people to the Lord from a Catholic Bible. Douay, any of those, there's nothing really wrong with them, except right in the middle they sew in the Apocrypha. What is the Apocrypha? Well, it's approximately 13 major books. Let me just tell you about them. First, Esdras is the first one. That's Esdras is the Greek word for Ezra, and it's a copy of Ezra, except they add a whole bunch of stuff at the end that talk about it's not good to mistreat Jews. It was just like a PR book for the Jews, and as if the Gentiles would read it and be nice to them. So all they did is copy Ezra and add a little extra stuff. But what's so amazing is it's kind of like when someone worked on your house and then you tried to remodel it, to look at a craftsman's work next year as it really doesn't look the same, does it? Like I tried to mud and tape, and there was more mud than tape, you know? You know what I mean, drywalling? Well, that's when it is when you put Ezra next to Esdras. It just doesn't even look like anything of any quality, and you can tell it's a forgery. Second Esdras is the same, except the second book of Esdras is about an author, totally different style. He was in the flaming apocalyptic. I mean, he takes Daniel and Ezekiel and Zechariah, blends them together, and writes this hellfire from God conquering the Greeks, the Romans, and everybody in between. And totally inaccurate. None of his predictions come true. And by the way, the reason that we don't accept the Apocrypha is that Christ didn't. Jesus mentions the 12 minor prophets distinctly, and he explicitly does not mention any apocryphal book. The Apocrypha was extant in the time of Christ and his apostles, and neither would recognize any of it. Why does the Roman Catholic Church recognize it? Well, I can't go through every book, and when this gets on the internet, you can read about all of them if you want, or just buy another book on it. But the reason that the Catholic Church sews it into their Bible is because of one verse in 2 Maccabees 12:43. And you know what it says there? It says, Judas Maccabees, when his soldiers got killed in battle, he piled them up, and he built an altar, and he made a sacrifice for their souls that were dead. For, you know, the dead, departed souls of his dead soldiers. And that's where purgatory comes from one verse, from a non-canonical, non-biblical, never recognized by Jesus or any apostles or any prophet book. And the Catholic Church has built the entire doctrine of purgatory with all the sacramental indulgences and the festival years and the indulgence years and the plenary years and all that stuff comes from one verse that was not inspired. Well, that's what's amazing.